Season 1 of Warzone and Black Ops 7 is finally here, bringing so many updates with it. The biggest probably being the new Resurgence map, Haven's Hollow, but there's also the new Verdansk locations, Factory and Signal Station, open matchmaking playlists, where skill-based matchmaking is tuned down, loads of quality of life changes, and of course, all the Black Ops 7 weapons, including the new ones to this season, those being the Kogot 7 submachine gun and the Maddox assault rifle. Now, since we've had so many changes, and particularly a new map, I thought now would be a perfect time to share the latest best graphics settings in Warzone and Black Ops 7. So let's start first with your monitor and TV settings, and then we'll hop into the in-game settings. Generally, we want to increase our refresh rate as much as possible and reduce response time. This will ensure you get the maximum frames per second with minimal blurring. Then if you do have FreeSync or G-Sync, you can enable this to avoid screen tearing. In terms of visual and color settings, for resolution we obviously want to choose the highest possible. For Xbox Series X, that's 1440p if you are wanting to get the maximum frames per second of 120, as using 4K resolution would actually lock us in at 60 frames per second. But that's going to depend on your monitor as well as what you're playing on, whether that is console, old gen, new gen, or even PC. For brightness, just change this to your personal preference. Just make sure it's bright enough to see clearly, but not too bright that it actually just washes things out. We can always edit this further in our in-game settings anyway. For gamma, a setting of 2.2 is generally recommended for a balanced look. Some monitors and TVs do actually have presets to make all of this easier and quicker, so I would recommend trying those out. And we want to head over to graphics settings, and we start with refresh rate. If you do have this option, you do want to switch it on. This means that we have the capability to be running 120 frames per second. Now, you're only going to get this option if you are on a newer generation console, as PS4 for example is capped at 60 frames per second, and you do need a monitor or TV which will allow this as well. Then for gamma and brightness, I've got mine on 60. This makes sure that any of those dark corners are nice and illuminated, and I won't be caught too unaware by any campers. This does depend a little bit on your monitor settings though, as you may already have quite a bright screen. Then moving over to the quality tab, you want to switch off world motion blur, weapon motion blur, and depth of field. All three of these are processing effects which essentially, as they say, give a little bit of blurring, which can be nice and cinematic, but also put us off just seeing the enemy. But before we get into the rest of the settings, do you want to unlock all of the new mastery camos like Singularity as soon as possible? Then check out MITCH CACTUS. They offer instant delivery DLC codes like Monster Energy and Muller Milk, plus lobbies delivered in under an hour. Everything is 100% safe and legit for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And with over 20,000 verified reviews, they really are the go-to for all things Call of Duty. If that sounds good to you, you can use code SPRING for 5% off. Okay, now back to the settings. For Fidelity FX CAS, this helps sharpen some of the images that we have and get rid of some of that blurring that can occur in certain situations. So by enabling this and putting the strength up to about 70, I think it's a pretty good balance of sharpening those blurry images, but not doing it too much that it looks like we're playing in 1998. This might be one that you want to play around with a little bit to get your personal preference, but I definitely would recommend switching it on. Then for on-demand texture streaming, if we want the game to look as beautiful as possible, then we want to go on optimized. This does mean that you are streaming higher levels of data to your system, so if you feel like you don't have the best internet connection in the world, then you do want to put this on minimal. Then for view, I recommend putting your field of view on 115. Certainly somewhere between 110 and 120 is where you want to be. Like I always say in all of my graphics settings videos though, you can very much see the field of view slider as a frames per second slider. The higher we go with FOV, the lower we're going to have our frames per second. That's just the way it's going to be, because it does mean that whatever system you're on is just going to have more processing requirements because there's more of the screen to see. Then for ADS field of view, we can put this on affected. This ensures that we zoom into our field of view setting and not back to the default. For weapon field of view, I would go on wide here. It makes our weapon look marginally smaller so we can just see more of the environment. And then for the camera movement, put these on least. Then we want to head over to the interface and specifically the readability tab, and then all the way down to color customization. Here I'd recommend going down to the color filter settings, putting this on filter 2, and then putting the filter target on both and the intensity all the way up to 100. This is an absolute cheat to get the game looking much better, much quicker, without too much hassle. So they're all of the best graphics settings in Warzone and Black Ops 7 right now. If you do want to improve your other settings too, then why don't you join me over in these videos?